Hi, Hank. We don't know each other. My name's Jason. Big fan of your work. My wife and I have yours and your brother's books right back there. Big fans. I wanted to make a video because I've been watching over the last little while you talk about your experiences with Hodgkin's lymphoma. I wanted to create a video to talk a little bit about what you're going through. I'm a 20-year survivor of Hodgkin's lymphoma. I've been through some of what you're experiencing. I thought it might be good to offer some thoughts about what you're experiencing that's similar to what I went through, differences in how it's been over the last 20 years in terms of the approach of folks with Hodgkin's, and maybe just some thoughts that might help. I hope, at least. And if not, please feel free to let me know, because I want to be helpful if I can. And if not for you, maybe there are other folks watching who might find some value in that as well. So I found out when I was 19 years old that I had Hodgkin's lymphoma because a growth appeared on my neck right here that was the size of a golf ball. Super cool. All the kids loved it. Really made me the talk of the town. And at first I just thought that it was nothing. You're 19 years old. How do you know better that, you might have cancer? You're just like, so I went to the doctor, and of course they knew better, and they sent me for tests, and I went through CAT scans and PET scans, and I had a CT guided needle biopsy, which is, try and saying that 10 times fast. And eventually had actually one of the nodules excised. I had surgery to get it staged. And I was stage 2B, Hodgkin's lymphoma. It was a fairly aggressive course. And I started chemotherapy very quickly after that. This interrupted and almost derailed my sophomore year of college. I'll get to that in a minute, but the long and the short of that is that I was at Northwestern. It's on the quarter system. I had to take at least one quarter off to go and at least, start that process. I have notes here because I was watching your latest video about some of the stuff that you're going through right now. The fatigue and depression, the nausea, smelling funny, heartburn, all of that stuff. I went through the exact same thing. Anemia is a really big concern for folks in the state of chemotherapy. So plenty of iron. I recommend spinach. Goes with everything. You can blend it in a milkshake and nobody knows the difference. Shockingly tasty. Don't believe me? Try it. I'm telling you. What else? Neuropathy. That was a big one for me. So I developed a tingling in my hands and feet that took a long time to go away. I know other folks talked about it as if it was a burning sensation. So that is something you want to keep an eye out for and let your doctor know if you experience that. There are treatments, but it's not comfortable. The smelling funny thing is kind of funny. So, I was 19 years old. I smelled funny anyway, but my family reported that I started to smell like sulfur. So ABVD, for those of you that are watching that have not had this experience, is an abbreviation for the kind of chemotherapy that Hank is going through and that most folks who get Hodgkin's lymphoma have to experience. It is adriamycin, bleomycin sulfate, vinblastine sulfate, and dicarbazine. This has been the standard of care for many, many years. When I got diagnosed 20 years ago, it was already very much the standard of care for the 20 years prior to that. In some ways, Hodgkin's is sometimes referred to as the curable cancer, or at least it was when I was diagnosed, which I think is a ghoulish way of referring to it, but is also, in a strange way, true. The survival rate after 5 years of initial diagnosis with Hodgkin's is in the high 90s. And I think that what's interesting about it is that this is largely unchanged over the last several decades. These drugs work. They're targeted. They're not fun. There's nothing exciting about it, but it is notable that it's the kind of treatment that we know works and works well. You get it delivered intravenously. In Hank's case, that's through a port. In mine, I actually got a line put in, eventually a PICC line, a peripherally inserted central catheter that went up my arm. All of which to say, you're sitting in a chair and you get this delivered over several hours, and you're sitting in this chair and you're bored out of your mind. And the first time it happens, you're overwhelmed. And by the time you've done it 3 or 4 times, you feel like a champion because, I know what this process is like. By the time you're done with it, you're like, get this thing out of me. I'm so done with it. One of the things that really drove me insane about my experience with these treatments is that adriamycin, the moment I saw it, I was like, oh, that thing, that's evil. It is candy red. It looks like liquefied lollipop and tastes like copper. Hank, I don't know if you're going through this, but in my experience, I could actually taste the drugs as they were going into my system, which did not go away. I still taste saline when it's injected into me. Not fun. Definitely keep an eye out for that. I recommend root beer, a phenomenal way to cover up the taste of all the crap that's going through your system. Plus, who doesn't love root beer? Really. A couple of other things you mentioned that I want to call out. Depression, I know you've had some experience with that. That can go hand in hand with anxiety and a lack of desire to push through things. That's normal. I know you're working with your doctors on it, but for other folks that are experiencing it, if you're experiencing a kind of malaise and a kind of slowdown and it's hard to remember things, you really want to bring that up with your doctor and maybe even see a therapist to start to work through some techniques to build back a little bit more of that recall, because that can last for a while. And it's important to have good tools to help support yourself during those times. The other one was hair loss, which I know is a big, big challenge for a lot of folks. I'll be the first to admit I'm hair vain. I've always been hair vain. As you can see, it came back and it's a little wild today, but it's not so bad. When your hair falls out, it just falls out in clumps. There's no way around it. It's going to start to, you'll run your hands through it and you'll be able to pull out pieces. You'll wake up in the morning, your pillow will be covered with hair. My suggestion, shave it all off. When it starts to fall out, just go get a pair of clippers and go the Joseph Gordon-Levitt 50-50 route and just shave your head. The first time you do it, it actually feels really good. I think I've got some pictures I'll put up here of me without my hair. It's very freeing. And the truth is that it's going to happen no matter what. And I think leaning into it and giving yourself a little bit of that moment of control is actually a really important transition. It does eventually come back. As you can see, my eyebrows came back, my hair came back. I started when it all came back with a very different head of hair. This is a little bit different than it was when I was younger. I know some folks, the hair comes back totally normal. Some other folks, the hair comes back completely different. So the one thing I would offer is don't anticipate anything, but if it comes back and it's wildly different, embrace a new hairstyle. I cannot express enough how much fun it is to play with new hair when it comes back. That sounded dirtier than I meant it to. Please don't be, well, I'm not monetized. That won't be a problem. I was going to say don't demonetize me, but that's really not an issue. The part you haven't had the experience of yet with radiation is tough. I actually have tattoos on my chest still from where they targeted lasers specifically to deliver precise targeted radiotherapy to the sites that they needed to. Obviously, they don't want to overbake you. Unlike chemotherapy, which is once every 2 weeks for your regimen, radiation is going to be, for me, it was at least daily, 5 days a week for 4 weeks, a little over 4 weeks. At first, it feels easier because you're like, oh, it's like going to a tanning booth. It's a quick thing and I'm done. But it cooks you. It burns over time. So when you're ready to have that treatment, be sure to have a conversation with your doctors about ways that you can minimize the pain and the frustration that's going to come with that. I recommend cocoa butter. It's the best way to feel better, and at least you smell good and maybe less like sulfur, which I knew lasted with me for quite a while, unfortunately. I'd like to talk for a minute about the mental health part about all of this, which is sometimes overlooked because we're so focused on treating the body that sometimes we forget about treating the mind. That's going to be really important, not only during treatment, but afterwards. I know from experience that I went through a depressive phase for about 2 years after my treatment was done. And it took a lot of work to pull out of that nosedive. I think a lot of folks think that once they're done, they're sort of back on track with their life and everything is great. And that's exactly what they needed. And I'm okay. I don't need any other help. That's probably not the case. And the truth is that you go through a kind of transformative experience when you have chemo and radiation. And whether you want to or not, there's a new version of you that emerges from that. And maybe the old version isn't gone, but the new version has a bulk of experience that has to be responded to. It has to be processed. It has to be dealt with. So I strongly suggest an outside perspective, a non-judgmental one, somebody who's not a friend or family, somebody who's really there to just support you without preconditions is really important, because without that, it's really easy to descend into all sorts of bad feelings and bad thoughts. And they don't help you recover and they don't help you process the experience. What you're experiencing is hard. It's just hard. And that's okay. And give yourself the space to feel that and give yourself the space to accept that and not have to feel like you have to demonstrate strength or you have to show your friends and family how healthy you are and how everything's okay. And I've got this and a can-do attitude and we're going to beat this. And I'm a cancer warrior, whatever cliche crap people say. You don't need it. Just be where you are. Be present with yourself. Give yourself space to process. Do it in a safe environment. Do it with a professional, somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody who can guide you and help ask questions to let you reflect on your experience and come to the answers about the experience that you need. And most importantly, to give yourself space to just feel, which is really hard to do sometimes. So where do you go from here? As somebody who's been clean and clear of this 20 years, the first couple of years afterwards are always a little tense. You got to go in for regular checkups. You got to do more scans. I still go get a regular scan every year on my neck just to make sure that nothing's developed. But the nice thing about what you're going through is that in all likelihood, you'll only have to go through it once. The thing I'm the most grateful for in the 20 years since is just the fact that I can look back on it and I can, as I get further away from it, still feel everything in many ways, but also become detached enough from it to recognize the impact that it's had on my life. It can be in strange ways motivating, and it can be in strange ways something that brings you closer to the people around you, twisted as that is. I hope that you have the opportunity to reflect as part of this. I hope you have the opportunity to process. I hope you're not putting too much work on yourself. As I mentioned earlier, I lost out on part of sophomore year of college when I was going through my treatment. I actually went back to school. I got Northwestern to give me a limited schedule, and I found a doctor who would take over my treatments, and I went back to being a full-time student while I was getting chemotherapy. And I know you are focused on producing content and writing and doing all the things that you do, and I'm totally in support of that. You need to do whatever makes you happy and helps you focus on the future. But I hope you're also giving yourself space to just process for yourself, because that's really important. I went back to school. I put all of my energy into school. I finished my classes on Thursday at 11 so I could go at noon to get chemo. And then I was sick Thursday afternoon all through Monday morning. And then Monday afternoon, I'd have my first class again and I'd go right back into it as if nothing was wrong. And I would just spend those 3-4 days being sick as a dog in the dorm room. Thankfully, you are not in that position. And may I just shout out all of my friends and roommates during that time who tolerated me during that not fun period of life. But you should also take time for you. And I hope you're doing that. And I hope anybody watching this recognizes that it's important to be surrounded by friends and family. It's important to have those structures. And it's also important to be by yourself and to let yourself feel. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I'm here if you or anybody else would like to chat about my experiences, if that helps at all. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me here on YouTube, whatever you want. But just know that you're not alone. And there are a lot of us out here rooting for you to get better quickly. And we also know that this is a long and arduous path, and we're here for you, whatever you need. So thanks. Hope you enjoyed, and take care.